All right. Greetings, everyone. We got the technicals worked out. We are professionals over here, everyone. So much love, massive gratitude, and let's just dive right in because our goal, our message is love and freeing the realm, freeing the people, breaking the firmament, the firm mind. So I highly recommend everyone come with an open mind, an open fist, an open empty cup, and we're gonna get into some amazing things. I'm so honored to have the homie here, and but let me introduce the homie that made this happen. I love the degree. I love how we all know powerful beings, and I love the collabs of powerful beings. It's like a powerful weapon, or how you say it. Anyway, blah. Mr. Mystic, how you doing, my friend? What's going on, dude?
Doing good, brother. Doing good. Yeah, no, I'm. It's always amazing to have a awesome conversation with Mike. What an amazing guy. He's done a lot of different things, and I'm actually honored and really grateful to actually. Funny story is me and Jeff back in 2022 were actually Mike's first interview on all this stuff. So that. That's always fun, and this is going to
Dude,
be the second
love
one coming back. And Mike's definitely had a lot of groundbreaking discoveries, since. So I'm just thoroughly like excited to get all into it because I know this man is about to change the entire realm forever with all this new breaking information. And even then, man, I was like, man, I was like, this stuff is going to flip everybody on their head and their beliefs. And
it. Hmm.
here we are, like 3 years later. And yeah, so I'll just give it over to Mike.
Yeah,
Again, very grateful to have you, brother. And always a
Yeah.
pleasure to speak to you.
Thanks for having me.
shattering
Yeah.
shattering paradigms, man, and it's so awesome. Full circle. But anyway, Mike, let me get out of your way, my friend. And shout out to the chat. Guys, so much love in the chat. We appreciate you. This is a family episode. This is a family show, single family operated business here. You know what I mean? So real ones only. And we're shattering paradigms. And I love that, Dustin, that you say that because that is so empowering. This channel's always been about empowering everyone and ourselves. So, man, don't jibber jabber. Pass the mic, Mike. Mike Forrest, how are you, my friend? How are you, sir?
Doing really good. Yeah. Yeah. It's
Dude,
been a
can
great
you?
week.
Yeah, please.
Oh, I was just going to say it's been a great week. We've been super busy getting a bunch of science done on this stuff finally. So it's been just one thing after another with these guys down there and seeing the light of things come to the forefront in terms of research has incentivized a lot of people to get into this and peel it back for real. And I think that's really what we intended to try to instigate was just let's make sure before we go any further.
Yeah, I want you to share for the people because Dustin has shared your channel with me a couple months ago, and I've just been swallowing it up. So, but can you
Yeah.
share with the people how you got into this? You can't. I love how you mentioned the science because you came with a skeptical mind. You were
Big
like,
time.
bro, get out of here. And then all of a sudden you got converted like, whoa.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit about your journey just for everyone to know where you're coming from and let the people know.
Yeah.
Yeah, please take it away,
Yeah.
my
No, it's wild. I never anticipated chasing aliens or going into, Indiana Jones type situations of historical, findings. I just own a cannabis company up here in Washington, and my good friend, he cuts opals. My wife cuts opals. So there's always these crystal and gem shows and things that we go to. And, I got this. And, I was there on the last day and I got him to give me this. So we always, exchange wares at the end of the day and things find their homes. And so he brought over a bunch of stuff and he's like, I wanted to show you this. My friend, he went down to Mexico and had some of these carvings. And so he hands me these carvings and you know, they've got aliens and stuff all over them and weird symbols, and they were reliefed in a way that was really a talented artisan did it, you know, even though they were just little trinkets. And I asked him, I was like, oh, who's making these? These are kind of cool. You know, how much did this cost? He's like, oh, it was like $300. And he's like, and it's 10,000 years old, you know, and that was the rug pull for me. You know, I laughed at him. I
Whoa.
told him they got you, man. I mean, but here's the thing that's in the back of
Well,
my
hold
mind
on.
at
He
this point.
shared what with you? And he said, "Hey, check this out." And
Yeah,
then
just
it was like,
some
"Oh,
little
by the way,
carvings, you know.
it just happens to be 10,000 years old. Whatevs."
Yeah,
What was it again?
it was just a little. Let's see if I have, you know, just something small like a little trinket like this, you know, with just some carvings on it. It had an alien face on it. Yeah, it wasn't this specific one, but
Right.
nonetheless, I thought it was good work, and you know, I wanted to know where it was from. He kept on, you know, riding on this. It's ancient, you know, it's coming out of the ground, and so I bet him 5 grand that I could prove this wrong. I was like, buddy, if this is real, everybody and their mom would be running to Mexico trying to figure this out. Like, you would have shows like Ancient Aliens doing, you know, emergency primetime specials and stuff, right? Like, this is ridiculous. And he swore, he's like, no, there's an archaeologist that was with my buddy. They all went down as an expedition, and they dug down there, they documented it, they found all these pieces, and they've carbon dated them on TV on Scott Woltar's America Unearthed. And when I heard that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna check that out. You know, so I did. I checked it out. They carbon dated them 20,000 years old. I mean, it was quite old. I can't remember the specific date, but it was more than 10,000 years. And they looked at them with scopes and had some professionals analyze certain things about them. And, you know, with extraordinary claims comes a need for extraordinary proof. And that's kind of where the episode left. But from there forward, I reached out to numerous different people. I started buying these things off of eBay, trying to research them, giving them to people to try to get into labs, just to understand, you know, is it just a big hoax, you know? And so we kind of started down that road. Getting anyone to comment was absolutely notorious. It seemed like anyone that was with a network or a company had some sort of NDA or contract that refuted them from, you know, having a civilized conversation about this. And it really took some serious effort. I finally found a scientist, and we started to dissect it, because every time we would get a little further, I would meet this group in Italy that's researching these, and they've got, you know, quality degrees. There's, you know, Oleg Elistrov, he's a PhD who's wrote numerous books on these things with a truckload of research to come along with it. Klaus Dona, same thing. He's been on this stuff for, gosh, probably close to 20 years. So there was this paper trail that I started to chase, and, you know, fast forward now, we've pulled things out of the ground with just ridiculous. It's completely blown every possible perspective that I ever had in this type of deal. But yet it fits, you know, historically. If you look at the ancient texts and all the mythology and the things that we have, um, there's a story there that might be somewhat true.
Yeah, that's incredible. I'm trying to share one of your vids while you're talking to show the people how you're taking this out of the ground.
Yeah.
I'm having problems being this dumb stuff, but I'm going to take the volume off just for visuals. Guys, his alien carvings. The channel is in the description. Check it out, man. This stuff is incredible, incredible things. This is they go and and you have friends too that are also helping you go and deal with the environment and dig this out yourselves,
Yeah.
and then have it going through all the testing. Couple things I want to ask for the technical side is this is a vid on the dirt. Is the dirt,
Yeah.
is this stuff, was this purposely buried, or are we talking mud flood? And if it was buried and or mud flood, how old do you think the actual burying of the items are?
That's a really great question. It encapsulates quite a few different variables, so I'll try to explain it the best I can. When they're digging down in these holes, there's multiple ground floors that are gone through. There's a third ground floor, like right here, for instance, there's these petroglyphs. That's found down after like the second ground floor. But clearly some of this stuff was buried. There's large caches of items. They're all grouped together. You can see right there, that's one of the ground floors there. So somehow these ground floors were created, and definitely some of the stuff looks like it was purposely placed there. Like this pit right here, this is an official dig from the INAH. This is a government sanctioned dig. It was on a farm. They found these burials. They went through and excavated it, and this is showing, that. So what I showed here was just to show what the type of soil and how the burials are, and how the ground is with the ground floors, because what they show here is very consistent to what we're finding. However, we find pottery and ceramics and stuff like they do as well, but you have to continue to go deeper. And so seeing these fragments on top of these burials, it could very well be that, before the Spanish arrived, that they got rid of a lot of this stuff in the ground. They sealed it away to protect it, to get it out of there so they didn't get, in trouble or killed for that type of stuff. I know that it was absolutely brutal. They went through and burned a lot of the things, melted down a lot of the things, the pagan beliefs. And I believe these are those pagan items. So some of them may be buried. Some of them might be from a flood. And that just depends on which layer they are coming from, and, how they got there. And you can clearly see it in the wear and tear on the items, stuff from the cave, stuff that's buried naturally, stuff that was purposely buried. They all have a different type of erosion to them, as you would expect.
That's so incredible, man. Yeah. Where do I even begin? So we're going to get into the symbology of it. I just want to get into the actual how we got here part. That's why we're going over this now, man. That's your friend right there.
That's my close friend from Spokane, Washington. You can tell by the arm color. He's actually the guy that showed me my very first piece. He's the guy that I made the wager against, that I thought was absolutely bonkers. And so he'd never gone down there and pulled these out. And he was like, I'm going down there. And he didn't ask for anything, but I went through and called everybody and said, let's get this guy a full tour. I wanted soil samples and different things. They took him underneath the actual archaeological zone. He got to document all of the structures underneath, the geopolymers that they were using. And oh man, some of this stuff, it's completely restricted to people to go there in most cases. So it was really great to see him get the inside scoop on the construction, because when we're finding these, we're finding a lot of depictions of the star of Venus or the star of Inanna, this reproductive feminine that's seems to pop up in almost every culture out there. And Venus is something that the Mayan tracked very, very closely. So you can see on that tablet right now that it's showing there's a figure of the Lady of Guadalupe. And I find that there's again this divine feminine being showing up in history. And you go back to the Gnostic texts, and it talks, quite deep about this, and how there was a lady that got tangled into time before she created time itself, or the demiurge or something of this nature. And so it's interesting to see all of those types of symbologies surfacing here in Mexico.
Yeah. Okay. And then, oh man, this going on here. I mean, these guys. So there's been elongated skulls that have been found that are known. Most would say, say they were like humans, not necessarily aliens like this. So these are
cranial binding, right? And but then there's actual real ones.
Oh yeah, there's real ones, dude.
Yep.
And we have places. The beauty about Mexico, dude, and this is with the pyramids also. And I live next to a pyramid here in Georgia, the U.S. There's less, and when I say pyramid, it's plural. I mean that, but there's multiple pyramids within a mile of my house. I can, my backyard, I stare at the mountain out of my backyard where there was a star fort that they destroyed, of course. And then overlooking that is several pyramids, you know. And I've done a lot of my own personal research there. I haven't dug them, but I believe they call them mounds. But this is, I say this because the U.S. is a little more organized with their bureaucracy and cover-ups.
Oh, yeah. Let's look at the serpent mounds
Mexico is a
too.
little less, right? So you can take the pyramids in Mexico that are covered in dirt and dig them away and go, there's a pyramid there, which is, you can look at pictures from the 40s to now, right?
Yeah.
I say that because there's a lot of symbology and etymology between Mexico, America, and the rest of the realm, which tells us this is there was a war, in my opinion, and we're dealing with today in the practical the winners of that war, and they're still doing their things to complete their overtaking of the entire realm. I don't care where you are, who you are, but yeah, man, sorry, I don't want to go on my stuff, but yeah, bro.
No, that's all really accurate. I think it's really important to analyze that because, you know, you have Mexico that used to go up to Utah. We have all this reportings in the Grand Canyon of these objects and these giants, and then obviously the serpent mounds in the middle of the country. A lot of stuff in Texas, and even before World War II, the Germans were over here investigating all over the place, you know. And so it's definitely I think there's significant connection there to this. And when you look at the Paracas culture, which is a lot of those different elongated heads, and there's clearly different species almost, or different you know, like how there's Homo erectus and Homo sapiens sapien, and like these different variations of a similar species. I think that that's what we're seeing here is the experiments that it talks about in the Anunnaki books, you know, where they had the Adamu and the Ajiji rebelled against them, and they got too advanced, so they had to be killed off. And I think that's what you're seeing. Like some of these tablets show pretty advanced architecture, like things that look like Jetson-like houses and crazy, you know, almost like roads and things that we would have currently. So I feel that that this might have been that Ijiji culture, and that's what these depictions are of. And the grays that we have today are maybe the ones that didn't get wiped out by the Anunnaki. Maybe they got so advanced they mastered, you know, interstellar travel as well as interdimensional travel, and they were able to escape some of them. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing. And then after they did that, we have all these other experiments before it got to us. So we have, you know, clearly like the Olmec is a great example. They have a pretty advanced thing. You can even go into the Sumerian area where they have the Ubaid lizard men culture, where there's all these lizard men with babies and stuff. And so I believe these were all the experiments that went on before they found us.
So you think experiments of different humanoids by these quote unquote, if
they're
I can
angels.
just use the term Anunnaki just as a umbrella. By the way, in Mexico, the word, and this is, I can't find the map, but the word Anunnaki is in Mexico. It's you might throw an H in front of it. It's kind of like Anunnaki.
Huh.
And I've shared, so I'm a big ancient maps guy. I'm a big I think the Sioux, Mer, the Sioux More, the Sioux, the tribe, the Indians.
Lakota and the Sioux.
Just FYI, my friend, like I think America's India. Like India is not India. That was some other thing. The Indians are in India Superior, the Sioux, in the More, the Mer, the Sioux, Mer. So a lot of this Egyptian to me is actually like a fake word. All that stuff is from America. America's the old world. America's Atlan. Well, you can see Atlan everywhere, especially in Mexico, Mexico, Mexican, Michigan. Michigan.
Yeah.
Michigan. So you have Mississippi and Memphis, and you have even things like Kemet, where Kemet means dark, fertile soil. Where do you have dark, fertile soil near a place named Memphis? It's the Mississippi Valley, folks. So
Yes.
this is an inversion of history. And you go, who cares? Why? What does it matter? It's your scaffolding of your psyche.
Yeah.
Is why it matters. So, Michael, please don't let me digress because so
you're crushing it, bro. Yeah, this is good.
And our friend here, who is a friend of, we know he's a friend of ours. You're a friend of Dustin. You're a friend of mine, right? Yep. He's literally digging things to demonstrate this. Hard evidence, not just intellectual, fluffy talk. And we got one of our own now here. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, go ahead, brother. So forgive me.
Yeah, all the Indians thing and India and the connection here too. If you go back into the Vedas,
Indian, guys, Indian,
the Mahabharats, the Vimana, all these ships that they had and the wars that they were fighting, and all that type of stuff that's there. I think clearly that they were fighting on the other side of the pond, and this is likely when that advanced civilization, like you mentioned, the Sioux and the Sumer, and there's Sudan, and then you go to Sudan and you find the Lion Temple there, and the Lion Temple has clear depictions that we're finding from Mexico, including the multi-armed lion-headed being. The demiurge was supposed to be a lion-headed twin serpent, and so you have this Anunnaki lady Tiamat that creates
Tiamat. Get him.
Yeah, she's all there. That whole story. It just keeps connecting between these cultures, but I think it's really, really critical to analyze that connection because, the fall of Atlantis, the fall of the Tower of Babel, and what caused these things. Atlantis is quite a bit more foggy than Babel, but Babel, there's a fair amount of literature that talks about what caused this and that they were making stone idols to worship their gods. And what we find in Mexico is all of these stones that are made of this material. And this material, we've done a lot of material science on, and it's not a stone that's out of the ground. This is not a carved stone. This is something that was molded like clay and dried at room temperature. It's a manufactured stone, like a geopolymer in some respects, but it's more crystalline based. And so the manufacturing of this type of material is really interesting because it's got you can see kind of a yellowish, orangey color to it. And often it'll have a high iron oxide content. And so we know that it's bonded together with carbon. We've seen the electron displacement scans, and it's done methodically. It's done engineered in a way that is not by the earth. And so how they got iron oxide into a liquid mixture for alchemy is really the bigger question. And is this why they were using so much blood from the blood sacrifice of that time to create these stone idols that worship their gods? We know that the blood was for the gods. So this would be a real likely understanding of even why the Aztecs collected the menstruation even of their females, because it was a glue or a bonder.
Really?
Alchemical product, yeah.
In the I haven't heard
and this is speculation. Clearly, I mean, this is just from the research we've done, leading to a plausibility. But this would make sense to me based on what we're seeing and everything else. What we know and how important the sacrifice was at that time.
So if I could share real quick, like the Tower of Babel, if you look on a Google map and go into northern Canada, you'll actually find a Mount Babel there, and it's an island. You can just, I can look it up. You can look it up too, guys, on just Google. There's a Mount Babel. There's also the Acadians, the Acadia Park in it's like Newfoundland, New York or something like that. So my point is, like, this is like the OG America, Central, South America. This is India. This is Asia Major, Asia Superior, I should say. And that battle you talked about, in my research, and this is just how it fits in, and we'll get into your so much more, but there was a gentleman, and this is also Ethiopia, Abyssinia. So you have priest, God King, aka Prester John, here in America, and then he was a powerful wizard, okay, and Genghis Khan, who was also a powerful wizard, wanted to marry the Presters. And if you look up Prester, this is where Marco Polo went to look up the search for Prester John. You can look this up. I'm not making any of that part up. And so they come to the Montanas, the Mongol, China, aka Sinaloa. Sino is where you get the word China, and Sino is in Mexico. Mexico before was called Paradiso, Patty, like Paris in Peru, the Pari, and you come through. Where do you know? When you hear of Mongolians and why they were so cool, you go, oh, they were horseback archers. Where else do you hear that amazing horseback archer story? With Indians in this American steppes, the plains. So Genghis Khan came from over there across to the Americas and did battle with the priest king. So Chinggis, Khan, King Khan, we're talking Khans versus Khans, wizards versus wizards. Genghis Khan won the battle. And so that takeover has been happening ever since. That's where you get words like Sioux and the Carians, like you hear Cairo, Egypt, but you don't know the Caribe, the Cairo Key, the Cherokee, the Cairo Key, the Carolinas, etc., and on and on and on. Queen Calafia in California. California was an island. You had the Red Sea between. That's where the Red Sea was. The Red Sea. So if you go into even over there, so you look up Kara. Kara means dark. So if you just do a quick search on what the Black Sea is, black means Kara Denez. Caspian Sea means soulless ones. That's where you get Pia. That's where you get the Pele, the Pales, right? Now the problem is this is not a complexion color, right? I know everyone, that what we've been taught is crayon colors of skin people. No, these are just the characteristics of people. So the Kaw nations, the Kaw Asians, between the Pia, which means soulless, which means Pele, between the Kara Denez, another black Kaw nations in the Americas is also black, the Blackfoot, the Crow. So this is, who cares? Okay, this is an inversion. I bring this up because this is a full-on inversion, direct inversion of the past stories.
Yes.
So I'm sharing my story, the mysteries. This is my stories that I'm sharing on how I decode this. And so these artifacts you're sharing, these symbologies, these old world things, I believe America is like both south, north, in between, the West Indies and all that is like the key to really unlocking a lot of the programming, the pro grimoire. By the way, this is my grimoire. I'm a pro grimoire, everyone. I'm a programmer. So this is my grimoire that I'm sharing. Is being your own programmer and removing the malware firmware from others that don't have your best benefit in mind. So that's my little rant, Michael. So and your artifacts back up a lot of things. So
yeah, no, it's real.
What do you think, Dustin?
Well, honestly, I'm curious to see in your latest discoveries, Mike, what would you say is the piece that you feel the most like called to, or your favorite piece that you've taken out of the ground this year?
This year, it's tough, man. I mean, the favorite is these things are not items that it's like, you know, ancient pitchforks and blood sacrifice tools and shit. So to get like really excited, like, oh, that's my favorite. Like it's hard to justify because there's more of like a respect value for the iconography. You know, some of the pieces that have appealed to me in terms of like revealing history and understanding the full framework of what we're finding, I think that makes it easier to explain. And there's been things like there's a third century Gnostic gem that has this multi-armed beast on it, and it's known as the Sophia, which the Sophia is this divine feminine wisdom that, you know, supposedly fell and whatnot in Gnostic texts. Well, that being we found right at the base of Zikuku Hill. And so what we find, the Zikuku Hill is the hill of the owl. And we find in Abuelos de Jalisco these pieces at the hill of the bull. And we find also right next to the hill of the owl in Tula is the hill of the magician. And there's also many pieces that have been recovered there as well. And so we feel that there's direct ties to the watchers here. You know, the owl was a really significant symbology to Aphrodite, to Ishtar. And, you know, a lot of people don't know what Easter really is all about. Oh, it's, you know, the resurrection, to celebrate the resurrection. But like, why are we celebrating this resurrection? What did it actually do? Oh, it saved us from our sins. But I mean, what does that really mean? And I think that's something I've really dove deep into, was that formulation. I wasn't really religious going into this. And so a lot of curious questions came to be. And so Ishtar and Easter is very a similar word. Again, I bring this up because of the whole grimoire thing. Like there is a lot of lingual connections. And I think that the English language has been created to dismember us and confuse us even more. And so these things that are starting to show up like this are really important. But Ishtar is this divine feminine goddess that fell, I believe. And so that would make sense why we're finding this being holding up, you know, the Boogosphere and the symbol of Venus, and being opposed or on the opposite side of Sobek in this situation. You know, we see the bull and the Hathor references really, really hard here. A lot of bull worship. And so this definitely resonates hard with the you know, what the Israelites kept going back to in the Bible, and some of these things biblically that would make a lot of these other stories like the Anunnaki story make
The
a lot of
Bible,
sense.
the Bible, the
Right.
duality bull, the Tanakh.
And that's her, you know.
Well, you know, the Phoenicians.
That
So the Phoenicians goddess, and this is also the goddess of Islam, folks. Sorry to hurt your feelings. It's like in English, it's GE, right? And we know in other languages like Spanish, you could get a he. So we have all the Gaias, and you know, that's all feminine. And Islam is built on the feminine goddess. Just look up Alat. Just guys, just do a search on Al-Lat, and that is will show you the female goddess of Islam. So a lot of this feminine, divine feminine things, yeah, man.
and a lot of it's been rebranded or completely destroyed. Like, you know, we know that the pagan, they went after pagan beliefs and blah 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 during the Crusades and the conquistadors through the South America and Mexico. But really, what was that purpose, and what was there that they were so after to get rid of? I mean, to put out the amount of effort that they did, and converting and burning of all the books and the literature, the codices. What was their driving purpose to get rid of that from history? You know, they had the ability to go and burn these witches at the stake. Also, you know, a couple hundred years ago here in Europe, or here in America and Europe rather. And
Oh, brother, I
clearly they
have,
knew, you
yeah.
know.
Oh, and don't forget Moshe, Moses. That's the word Moses. Moshe,
Yeah.
Mexico. So, in my opinion, the Bible and the Hathor and all that actually comes from America, Utah, and
Yeah.
that's
That
where this originates from. all
Yep.
the
Like you
tribes.
said, chem. I mean, this is chem over here, I think, 100% at this point, because if you look in the pharaohs, they had that beard that they would, strap onto their face. That beard that they would always wear, even the 15-year-old boy put it on, and it's to honor the creators in chem. And what do we find all over these pieces is these beings, these creator type beings with that beard. So
Oh,
it
and that.
clearly,
Oh, can you hold that up again? So that
yeah.
one thing. Okay, so the one thing he's holding in his hand. A lot of a lot of people have been talking about the pine cone. Now, in
Mhm.
my opinion, that is not a pine cone. That is corn or maize or whatever. So where does corn or where is it or maize or whatever you want to call it? Where is it indigenous? It is indigenous in the Americas. So all
Enki is
these
the god of corn,
yeah, oh,
and
you know what I'm
Enki's
saying?
always depicted with this. However,
That's not a
however, we've got multiple depictions. I'm looking for one right now for
Dustin,
you
I'm so
that
fired up,
shows.
dog. I love this.
Um, we clearly see, here we go, here it is. So we clearly see a more elaborate version of the tree of life. I don't know if you can see this, but the tree of life is depicted with the pine cones or the corn at the end of it. And so it often shows them picking it off and then handing it or passing it. um, so it could very well be the seed of life or the fruit of life as well. And quite a
Yeah,
few pretty.
Dustin, what do you think, bro?
definitely could be 100%. I mean, all these things are just absolutely mind blowing and amazing. Um,
Yeah,
I
please.
know that I know for you, Mike, you're probably a little uh, like, yeah, you're probably excited all this stuff, but I guarantee you, probably at this point and everything, you're never surprised or like, wow, never seen that coming. At this point, you're like, wow, anything's possible.
That's not, well, you're right. I keep an open mind, and that is the biggest takeaway from this whole thing, is that every time I think I've got it, or every time I want to pin the tail on the donkey, I just get slapped in the face. And it's been really humbling. I really have a much better wisdom than I used to because of this. So great. However, yeah, every day is still a real shocker though. Like I got something yesterday coming that is literally a 25-foot long piece of plant wood, something that has all these drawings, and it's like a Mayan codice, except it's of this type of iconography and things showing the spaceships, and but it goes inside of this bronze vessel. So a lot of different data points will be able to be achieved. All this stuff from Guerrero, I really thought it was all fake. A few years ago, I thought all of it was fake at one point. But we do research in one area, and that's the thing. There's 7 states in Mexico that we've documented these things coming from, as well as multiple other countries throughout South America and Central America. And so, man, I mean, we got a carbon date off of one of these metal books. It's almost like a Kama Sutra, like original version of Genesis. I mean, it shows the angels and their massive phalluses with all these human females and things, and going to town with DNA and lots of different odd things. And we carbon dated that at 37,000 years old, from the resin on the ring that held it together. And so, that date alone, cool. Yeah, it's probably wrong. Most people aren't really sure on carbon dating. However, we also did 2 other tests. We tested the geopolymer, because it's got the organic binder inside of it. We tested that from one of the caves and from another dig in Tula from 2 separate people. And all 3 of them came back within 3,000 years of each other, over 35,000 years old, or over 37,000 years old, I should say. So seeing those 3 come back so close together has really opened our eyes to the potential of them being, something that was around for 20 plus thousand years, and possibly through multiple experiments and multiple civilizations and resets that went on in that area. And that sounds so ridiculous to even say, from my point of view of where I was mentally. But after doing an interview with the Miko-chan tribe, I did a documentary called The 10,000 Year Lie on our YouTube channel. And I mean, they told me specifically that that's an oral tradition there, but that their grounds were used as an experimentation zone in the past, and that's why they have a lot of different bones and things that come out of the ground. So it's not something that's in the books, but it's orally passed there, and they have museums that are completely off the record there that I've gotten to document that are in there that just, I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of pieces additionally to what I even ever documented in the first place. So there's I mean, probably 30 to 40,000 of these things out there, at least documented at this point.
Okay, I got two questions. One is the luminescence you share with these things. What is the and I know you've broken down this in previous vids, but you can share with the people.
Yeah.
These geopolymers have luminescence, and then also boogospheres. What is the deal with boogospheres? What's the deal with boogospheres?
It's a pretty popular topic right now.
Yeah,
and for
strange,
good reason.
Right?
So as far as the luminescence, I'll say that first. These things are, it looks like they're painted or drawn in somehow with a glow in the dark green, luminescence. And it's very prominent on the pieces from Tula and the pieces by the pyramid. However, when you go to other states like Guerrero and Abuelo Stilisco, and you find these pieces, when you hit them with a black light, they will flash back at you for a second and hold a light green, but not like the stuff from Tula. The Tula stuff is clearly decorated on the surface. And so when we looked at these with a scanning electron microscope, we found out that it's a geopolymer in Abuelos, Guerrero, and in Tula. So that's why the phosphorescence is occurring, just like a resin or a two-part resin. When you put them together and they bond, then you hit them with a black light, they're going to create a UV reaction. It's not the same reaction that we see in this bond, but nonetheless, we feel that that's likely of where this phosphorescence comes from. And then the luminescence is something, like I say, it's clearly applied, and it's not just painted on, it's bonded to the stone, like literally somehow, not with high heat, because high heat destroys phosphor. They were able to get this and bond it to the stone. So when you zoom in at 100,000x with a scanning electron, you can literally see that it's bonded to this material somehow. And it's not just the geopolymer, it's also stones like certain agates and onyx, but then it's also crystal too, like quartz crystal specifically. And so to get that to bond to crystal is really a interesting thing as well, in its own right. But as far as the boogosphere goes, we documented the chip design back in January of 25. It was documented a similar looking thing on a park bench that was found in Tula back in 24. In my books that I wrote in early 24, these pictures and these items were documented in 23. We've got numerous spheres and ships that have, astronauts and things inside of them. So this idea of the spheres and them being ships and flying around is nothing new on these pieces whatsoever. However, the chip design, we didn't document that until, like I say, January, which is before the boogosphere ever crashed in Colombia. This boogosphere crashed, it hit a power line, and it was documented crashing down in March. So yeah, those are the books. So we were clearly shocked about that. Everybody thought that, oh, we're just trying to ride on this thing crashing and so on and so forth. And to be honest, the amount of items that came out after the Booga crash is in the hundreds. I mean, it's so ridiculous at this point. I've got the carbon date on that book with the ring that I told you about, as well as the geopolymer from Tula, both dated at that 37 to 40,000 year range. Both of them have the Booga chip design on them, which is insane to me. Like, we tested those pieces expecting to get modern results. We were trying to just gut this thing for what it was by testing the failures, and everything that we test like that, it just keeps coming back with a big question mark. Like, how is this even possible? How the heck are all these Booga chip items coming out? But as the story continues to show itself, we find this divine reproductive God is holding up this Booga chip on this disc. And the discs in Sumerian, if you look at like the high gods holding like that, it looks like a ring in their hand, and there's all these discs up in the air. Well, one of those is the star of Venus, or the symbol of Ishtar. And so to see the Booga chip implemented in this type of manner, we think it's possible that, considering she was the one that created the demiurge, that it's possible that that could be related to the mark of the beast. And in the Revelation, it talks about the mark of the beast being something that no man could buy or sell without. And so we think that this advanced civilization 13,000, 20,000 years ago was slaves to these beings, and they were slaves because of this chip, which was a technology utilized to kind of like AI is starting to do with us, in terms of manage our records, find out who's doing things wrong, reporting this to that, etc. Like, it's getting to the point of you know we thought CCCTV was bad. I mean, this is getting pretty ridiculous at this point, right? So that very well could be the mark of the beast that we're seeing, and this could all be related to that Book of Enoch, Gnostic stuff that people were killed for even knowing back in the day, and that might be why they were killed, because it was true, or it happened, and maybe the truth was harmful to us. I shouldn't be negative about it, because, like I said, I'll be open minded about all this. The Pope and all the Vatican rulers and people that have fought for getting rid of this pagan stuff, the people have lost their lives in the Crusades, etc. Was it all in vain, or was there a higher purpose? And that's something that we have to be open to at this point, because clearly we're in the dark about this on one side of it. Who's behind that, and for what? And when you look at like the Cathar people, and how 9 different popes killed off every Cathar on the earth, a full genocide to the end, man, woman, and child, like that alone is just something that, like, in the name of God, that we're missing part of the story clearly.
So, by the way, I've shared maps, ancient maps of Cathay being in Canada. Con Da. Da is feminine. So you can easily look up Cathay ancient maps, Canada. So the Cathars, again, in my opinion, originally come from America. So the killing of the Cathars is hits home with me. So it's almost like they had a full on dystopia back in the day. From what you're saying, it didn't work out, and now they're trying to play the whole back to that, but in a more ghetto way. It's just
That's
like,
what the Bible says too, which is the part that, like, everybody's like, "How? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard." But when you read the Bible, like, that's pretty much what it says. you know like, there was the flood and all of these things. I mean, clearly, um I think any of these ancient texts, including the Bible, have been stomped on by man so many times that it's hard to really take anything for more than a grain of salt. But the framework of the story, there's the fact that they've had this for thousands of years in the books, you know definitely wild.
Yeah,
do
definitely
you?
wild. All right, go ahead.
So some of your things, your artifacts, do you ever like tap them like with a hammer or something and just get like see if they like go send out a vibe?
Well, a lot of them are made like, I don't know if you'll build it. You can't hear that probably, but they almost sound like a metal inside, and there actually is. There's chromium and iron inside of these things, and so depending on the piece, some of these pieces are park benches, and they clearly have a much higher iron content than, say, the lid of this box right here. So they were in control of the alchemy to make these things. As far as them ringing or resonating any frequencies, they do emit electromagnetic frequencies naturally, as well as radio bursts intermittently. Like, I'm not really sure what that means exactly, but there is energy that comes from these pieces. Um, But as far as like the tuning fork thing, haven't had any real reactions outside of we did find a singing bowl, a bronze singing bowl. And when you hit this thing, it hits your soul like magic. I mean, it is my favorite piece that I use every day, at least in terms of that I get something out of. And it's wild.
That's awesome. Do you actually have it next to you right now?
I don't. It's upstairs on my my. I have it like with the view, so I can hit it and get the whole nature vibe at the same time. I mean, it really something special. But there is a video on my Instagram of me hitting it and the sound and stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
So I had a homie on this channel last year, James W. Lee. He was talking. A Plain Truth is, by the way, rest in power to the homie. He passed away. My show was the last show he did live interview, but he spoke of crystals. One of his main things was crystal skulls.
Oh.
And it's almost like you can program a crystal skull like in the Matrix, and you go, let me learn knowledge like right now. And you have a lot of skulls, bro. Like you got a lot of various crystal skulls. I don't even know, like alabaster. Like I'll be honest, I had to look up calcite alabaster, like like real recent, because I'm not a very knowledgeable.
I've had to do a crash course myself. I mean,
Yeah.
I collected rocks and minerals for a long time. Never really got into much of the stuff that we're seeing here for sure. Yeah, alabaster is really insane. Some of the pieces that are carved of that are just immaculate. Like the vase and jars, different vessels, the bronze work. I mean, there's I don't know if you can hear that, but the cowbell,
Yeah,
it's
so I guess
wild.
that's
You know,
difficult, right?
letter
Is it,
openers. I mean,
what is that?
it's a letter opener.
Oh, are you
No,
talking
I
about they
don't
had mail
know. I
back?
mean,
They had
it's
mail
what it
back in the
feels like,
day.
though. It's what it feels like. I have no idea what it is. It's got the opposing pyramid Masonic symbol on there, and it glows really
Folks,
vividly.
even back in the day, they had to pay bills.
Yeah, yeah.
So it seems like, and we have a homie, Chris Miner, and he's very knowledgeable about a lot of the symbology stuff too. So maybe, I'm sure he'll add in. So let me introduce the homie from the Ronin experience as well. Chris Miner, how's it going, man?
What's up? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm late. I thought we were starting at 6 PST, not EST. So I was like, I saw you guys start. I was like, oh no. My bad, guys.
Have you been listening at all to what we've been talking
Yeah, I
about?
started listening about 15 minutes ago. And before that, I was watching the live on the AlienCarvings channel that you did, I think, a day ago. So I was watching that, and then I see Ronin's on. I'm like, I thought we were going on at 6. So then I was like scrambling. So I apologize, guys.
No worries. And nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys, too.
Yeah, so it sounds like, if I'm being honest, we're actually getting these artifacts are coming from, and correct me, are these cats dark? And then all of a sudden they got wrecked, and then the people were like, we're rising up against you trying to program us and enslave us. And now we're back in this cycle of those cats are trying to regain their want to put a chip in everyone, or what? It sounds kind of dark, dog. You know what I mean?
Oh, it is dark for sure to some degree. I think duality is in our nature, right? So you can't have light without dark in this situation. I think being one-minded or picking sides in this situation is judgment, and that's something that we've been told not to do. So clearly, I think that's a huge piece of wisdom that a lot of us need to really analyze that yeah, we might be dealing with the devil here, we might be dealing with 3,000 years of lies from somebody, but we don't know the full thing until we know the full thing. So to judge now is way too early. And there's definitely, out of all these pieces, I've depicted 3 pieces only out of the 20,000 that I've looked at with violence depicted on them. There is cosmological comets and explosions in planets that are depicted. But as far as physical violence, the only thing that I've depicted is Anubis, the dog, choking out gray aliens. He's depicted choking them out with his hand in numerous cases, and he always appears bigger and stronger than them in most cases, or has them around looking straight up at him, like, you know. So I feel that there is something there. Anubis is really an interesting character. I've tried to place him of who he is in Egypt and how he fits in exactly with this whole, you know, the different gods and things. It's you
Well,
could
we
play on
have
that language thing too, real quick. You know, Anu and Bis. The Bis is two, and Anu is also the god of the Anunnaki. So Anu two is kind of an interesting play on words. You know.
yeah. Well, you know that dog face is. If you look up the black dogs of Central America, it is indigenous. It looks just like the dog face of Anubis.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, don't they connect Anubis to Osiris and Sirius? Aren't these two usually connected?
Well, yeah, they are both as far as like the guardians of the afterlife. They both have something to do with that. But I don't know if they're technically the same
Yeah,
being,
yeah.
you know. I can't answer that. I was just
Well,
showing
a
those.
reminder, he just showed us that this is in Mexico. Now, some will
Mhm.
claim that they took artifacts around the realm and brought them to Mexico. I am under the assumption that that's not the case, although I'm not writing it. These are indigenous, these are local things, in my opinion. So everyone was talking, everyone was communicating beforehand, before any your Christopher Columbuses or whatever, no discoveries. These were old world communications and trade and intermarriages across realm stuff.
Nimrod ruled the world in the Quran, and I think that's a really important thing to look at there. You know, it wasn't just the land; it was the entire world. It says specifically.
Yeah. And I believe, so these realm wide wizards, man, be running stuff. So like
Yeah. Look at the king's list. I mean, there's
look at the
specific
king's
kings
list.
for 250,000 years. They documented it into stone. Um, there's logical merit there at this point. Seeing what I'm seeing it, if we have dates already at 40,000 years old, and the cap of carbon dating is usually around 50,000 years old. We're definitely going to run out of map here real soon in terms of trying to get an accurate timeline to that extent of 250,000 years. But there very well could be accuracy there, in terms of this project, or at least what the Anunnaki have done to this world, or changed to this world.
Chris, what do you think, dog?
I mean, dude, I'm trying to catch up on everything still. I think this is fascinating. I was looking when you were doing the live before. I was even seeing the. Is that a mirror behind you? Like it was supposed to be almost like a mirror. It looked like it maybe even had obsidian at one time in it.
It is obsidian. It's an
Yeah.
obsidian mirror. I don't have it here. It's in a Pelican. I put it into safe
Okay.
storage. But yeah, it's a scrying mirror for sure.
Yeah.
And,
so all these cultures were into this like this black mirror scrying, trying to communicate with something on the other side for some sort of technological help. It seems.
Yes, pendulums everywhere.
They say Prester John, the priest king, Jan Khan King, priest king had a looking glass that could see anywhere in the realm. So he had his own scrying. So there's that's in the books as far as what these people have been up to.
Yes, and as soon as you hear Prester John, I think John D, and John D is like the king of scrying that everyone could think.
Oh, and by the way, thank you, Chris. So, for those that don't know, In my opinion, Prester John was also King David, Davida, the Vedas, Veda, like the Vatican, the Vatican, the Vedas. So what I like to do is boil it all down to the source. Um, and I really believe the Americas are the source of all this mythology, especially Abrahamic stuff.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And then you have these larpers trying to get in our way, but you have the Teutonics. So Genghis Khan created the Teutonics, aka the Templars, who eventually became the Jesuits, the Jesuits, the Jays, regardless of whatever suits they're wearing. And this is to distract and disempower folks. And now we have a homie here, so this is why I'm so fired up. The homie's digging this out of the ground, going, look at all this stuff. Even the Saturn looking things, the Kronos looking things, are incredible. And I heard some people explain like Kronos was actually, yes, he ate his kids, but it was done in like a helicopter parent kind of way, where it was like, like you're a parent and you're gonna just, it's like the mom. It's like being best friends with your mom, and your mom is trying to protect you, and she's going to eat you. And if you ever get a girlfriend, she's going to be, what's wrong with her? Why don't you deal with me? I'm your mom. Kind of, this weird archetype. It's an archetype. That's just a different explanation of that. But I see a lot of that Saturn stuff too, Mike, in your findings.
Oh, tons. And if Saturn is the demiurge, and the demiurge is this framework that traps souls, it's possible that these gods put like if we were to log into World of Warcraft and now we're playing, Sir Lancelot or whatever, but we're still, Mike Forrest on this end, but we're Sir Lancelot over here. When you look into Hindu cultures like Shiva and the many avatars of Shiva, you look into Ninhursag and Ishtar, Inanna, all these feminines. It could be that these are different avatars that are trapped in the material world, or that they implement themselves into the material world as. And so I think the dogma of trying to connect all of these things, like there is direct connection to the consciousness of itself, but that consciousness is in and out of many different suits of armor, or many different characters. Like over here she's a cleric and over here she's a priestess or something, right? Like this is a mission that took many different forms, and that's why we see this. And I feel that, if we look at Jesus specifically and how he was challenged and tempted by sin when he took the form of a human, if these other gods took forms of human also, like how Zeus had a temper tantrum and all these different gods had, good days and bad days, sometimes they got killed off. And, it always made me wonder, like, well, how are they so powerful and godly if they're getting killed? But if they're in the material world framework or in the linear time, then that might be why they're tempted with these things, because they were under the same dualistic nature and physics that we are.
Yeah, just like they say Thoth had many different avatars as well.
He
Many that he
changed
was.
bodies regularly. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, it could be definitely the same thing with all these characters. Could be just boiled down to all these characters. I don't know. Say it's like 50 people, right? But these 50 people are many different characters throughout history.
Bingo.
Yeah. And it's almost like they're the archetypes that we're dealing with. The archetypes are the gods, and then they're manifesting into
Archons, archangels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
go ahead. Sorry, brother.
No, I was just gonna say, even the ascended masters, it's the same way, right? Like, you were talking about like a lot of stuff with starting to find a lot of stuff with Venus and things like that. Sanat Kumara is ascended master, the guy that gave his body for the world, right? Essentially, he is the world. He is planet Earth because he just gave up his avatar to be the world. he was many different people too. Like if you go throughout history and track all that stuff too. So
Yep.
yeah, I'm in
Buddha.
full agreement with that as well. I mean, it makes so much sense, and there's even some things where they say Jesus was actually Zeus.
Right.
Mhm.
Or Enki, right? Or even Osiris.
Yeah.
Um, and then you start
It's all
looking at
Phoenician,
that.
brother. Jesus.
It,
It's all Phoenician.
yeah. So it's really I think that if that's the case, then it may have taken many different iterations, but the only Avatar where they actually took a physical flesh body to die was Jesus, and that's what isolates that as the savior, for because he died and went to the underworld when he died. That's where this 3-day window comes in. And in the Pistis Sophia, it specifically says he took the fallen's power by 1/3. And in this area, it's around chapter 20, it talks about the reign of the reign of the spheres, and it talks about the spheres of the fallen archons, and that they would be rotated, and they would be forced to look to the left for a period of time and forced to look to the right for a period of time. And so since Christ saved us, they may have been looking to the left. The end of the Mayan calendar may have hit. They now may be looking to the right. What that means exactly is still, very, very broadly depicted, but we do have the end of the Mayan calendar, and we do have disclosure that really started to uprise around 2012. And by 2015, the United States government almost did a 180 on their opinion of disclosure and how they were now almost starting to propagate rather than eliminate, So now fast forward 10 years later or whatever, it's huge, and it's continuing to move forward rather than backwards in any which way. And like someone like myself doing the type of research and doing this, I think 50 years ago would have been gone. So the fact it's happening now and we're continuing to move forward with it, maybe they're looking the other way. Maybe that's why we're getting away with this now.
Well, the funny thing is you can't make this up. Like the time that you're finding all these things, the planetary alignments are literally supporting all these things that you're finding,
Yeah.
and they're backing you 100%. So that's like the universe has definitely got your back.
Yeah.
Like
It's
so
wild.
they're rooting for you, man. You're crushing out here. You're doing a good job. Like, I remember one of our first conversations, like it's definitely an honor to be trusted with these artifacts and with this knowledge and wisdom, even to, again, like, to especially during all these times that we're currently in and everything right now, it's just mind blowing and like super grateful to even, be a part of any of this to any magnitude, to have these conversations with you, because yeah, there's a lot of people that are just still kind of, floating around and not knowing
It,
much
it
of anything.
took me 3 years of extremely dedicated research to accept this for what it is. So break that down to 10 minutes a day for the average Joe. I mean, we're talking possibly still, 50 or 100 years away from true disclosure, if that's the case. And, just like we find out 50 years later about, oh, we found this in World War II raids right after the war, or whatever. We researched Skinwalker Ranch with, hundreds of millions of dollars of your tax money. And we launched Hellcat missiles at these UFOs. But you're not going to get to know about that officially. Like these things are pretty wild. I mean, the fact we're launching missiles at UFOs on the record in congressional hearings, yet nobody has anything to say about that on the news at all. Well, we are clearly living in a very oppressed time for information, for sure.
Yo, Michael, what do you? And I love how Dustin brought that up because all's being revealed now, and it's amazing how legends are being positioned. Are alien? What do you think about aliens? Because I'll be honest, I'm not a space person. But what do you think about quote unquote aliens?
Well, I think there probably is other experiments on other solar systems by the Anunnaki, by the people who created this material universe. So it says that that Tiamat or Sophia, one of these people, they created the demiurge, and then there was 7 or 11 archons created below them, and so on and so forth. I probably got the numbers all butchered there, but regardless, then they were created as the planets to manage and this stuff. So it's definitely plausible that there's other things out there. Now, are they in interacting with us here? Or is that something ancient that was on this planet that maybe escaped, like I say, the Ajiji, and the aliens that we know that Hollywood is trying to shove down our throats as these almond eyes gray individuals? Well, the fact that our emoji in the iPhone somehow has this knowledge of what aliens look like, it came from somewhere. You go back in history and you look at the first gray alien, which was Aleister Crowley, and what he depicted and what happened to him with regarding Egypt and this whole occult onslaught of this Thelma religion that he founded, and what it talks about and how it's related to this stuff. It's really, I'm not saying to go do blood sacrifice and get all excited about Aleister Crowley's works, but at the same point, the knowledge of them, to know that back in the early 1900s, this was being heavily discussed and talked about before any of this was ever found, I think is really important. So as far as aliens go, I think there's probably the stuff that we're dealing with, the people, the channels, the Bashars, the Galactic Federation, all that stuff, I think is probably internal distortion from these archons or these fallen angels that are still maybe interdimensionally or spiritually within our reach. That's why Ouija boards and certain things, pendulum, you can ask the other side for assistance, and it's there. And we know that there's truth probably to that because of the witch burnings and other things. We find the pendulums all over the place in Mexico. We find depictions of them being used by Pharaoh. We find that the locals have oral traditions regarding them with crystal skulls, with obsidian and different things, burning incense, asking the eagles for advice. But one thing is really common. There's some guys that have magnetometers and GPRs and dig officially like archaeologists. And then there's a lot of guys that just want to go out there and provide for their families by finding a couple pieces and finding someone to give them to or sell them to. So those guys will often use the oral tradition of a pendulum and go out there and use this pendulum, and it'll guide them to these items, which when I heard that, I laughed, but now seeing this with the Booga chip coming out and how it just all of a sudden flared up out of nowhere, I'm fairly confident that's them trying to re-show themselves or try to influence this in some aspect or another.
Well, Mike, you're crushing right now. We have another amazing being coming through. I thought we brought enough estrogen to the channel, but we're gonna bring some. And I know she's coming. And it's funny you mentioned the pendulum. By the way, if I could just hold that pendulum, bro, and do my own incantations and ask questions, because we do a lot of card pulls and a lot of everything, gems and everything, to get some sort of intel from
it's all distortion.
The source.
No, it's not from the source. It's from the devil, bro. I'm fairly confident.
For real?
I would put every dollar I have on it.
Oh, well, hold on. Let's get into that. Let's get into that topic, but we're gonna bring in another person here, and we're gonna get into that. And this is gonna be interesting. So shout out. We have Moonfeather Rising up in here. What's going on?
Peace and blessings, guys. Do you hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Yes.
Awesome. What is going on? Oh my gosh. I have been watching on the side while I'm
been listening.
Huh? Yeah.
Have you been listening? All right,
yes. Well, I've been working and trying to get home and, tend to the kids and everything. I'm just listening to the background, and you guys have been killing it. I absolutely love all of Michael's feedback, and and all of his experiences. It's so good to see Dustin here. What's up, Chris? I was like, oh my gosh, I hope everyone shows up tonight. And then here you guys are. Oh my gosh, what's going on? It's interesting everything that you guys have been talking about, because and that you just left off on talking about the Boogosphere. I know I was sharing a couple of things with Ronin as well with Chris. And we certainly are in very, very interesting times. And Spirit has been showing me a lot of synchronicities to confirm. And I'm only going to speak for myself, but it's just so massive. It's massive, and it's too much of just too many synchronicities for it to be a coincidence. So you let me know when we could share, because I want to get into this. I want to get into 3i Atlas. I came across a lot of amazing information. And if Michael doesn't know, here on the tray, which is the Ronin Experience, also on my show, The Mooniverse, we have a lot of synchronicities that we end up talking about certain things, and they just happen in about a week or so later. It doesn't fail. It really doesn't fail. So you let me know when I could jump in. Ronan, I would love to share some things on the screen. I'm ready to go with my laptop. You just let me know.
Well, it's funny you come in at this time, because Mike, so we have synchronicities, and we also do things like card pulls and things of that nature,
Yes,
right? So how and they work together. They coincide. So synchronistically.
Yeah.
So what are we doing? Are we tapping into our enemies and receiving info from our enemies? Are we being cool because we're tapped into nature? What do you think about, Mike, as far as that goes? And then we'll get into the rest of the Moon Feathers questions.
Yeah, and I say that, last thing pretty abruptly, but we find a ton of Saturn reference. We found multiple Ouija boards, multiple things, even metal type looking card decks type things. I mean, there's very interesting things that have been found in this occult practice, and we find a lot of it goes back into this type of era where there's the Baphomet and the bullhorns and the bull and all of this. So is it manipulation? This was a time when people were heavily manipulated. That the Cathars believed that there was two gods in the Old Testament. One of them was an evil god, and the other one was good. And it talks about in the Bible that there's the ineffable, and that the real God is unimaginable and unfathomable. And yet, in the Old Testament, it talks, that he's asking people to sacrifice their kids and stuff, right? So it's a very interesting thing that the Cathar were killed off for this. And when you look at it in this perspective that when this universe was created, the demiurge potentially didn't know that it wasn't God. So it preached around like it was the ineffable, because that's all it knew. And so that's where in the Old Testament we have these two different gods possibly. There's also the Elohim to Lord translation, and Elohim is something that we're finding a ton of. If you look in the book of Ezekiel, the Elohim had the head of a bull and the body of a man, the other had the head of a man, and the others were an eagle and
the serpent.
I'm gonna butcher it. No, it's gosh. I don't know. But regardless, they're very similar to the ones in Egypt, right? And that we see like the gods in Egypt, and also the gods in Mesopotamia, and also gods in the indigenous, like the Lakota, how they had the bird star guys that came down, and same thing with the feathered serpent, all throughout South America and Mexico. And the big ticket here is that the feathered serpent likely came and gave the agriculture and did a lot of good things and taught a lot of good things. And that is also that bird that you see in Sumeria that has the feathers. It's actually the feathered serpent, and it's the dragon head, not a bird head. We found numerous depictions of this.
Shout out dragons. Oh, I'm a dragon fan.
Yeah. Well, they're a real thing. It seems like they
Dinosaurs are
found one
fake
in
and gay.
China, but
Dinosaurs are fake and gay, and dragons are awesome.
it definitely shows a war over the souls of the beings on this planet. And we know of the war of souls from some of these ancient texts. So when you tap into the 13th eon, or you get into the experimental planes, these are the creation realms it talks about that, we might be able to still tap into. We were diminished. So these previous civilization, the Ajiji, for instance, might have been able to use 100% of their brain. We only use 20%. So they may have started tapping things a lot faster in certain ways. And that might be why we have a lesser brain power today, because obviously that experiment didn't work. And so we're still able to tap. That's why some people are psionic assets to the government, because they have more access to these type of, quantum capabilities with their brains to be able to access these fields and do things that most people aren't capable of. That's why when people take psychedelics, sometimes they're able to do telepathy with each other and know what each other said afterwards. Like, there's all these things with our brain that we're limited on so much. So deception and discernment are the two biggest warnings that I take from the Bible as a irreversible lesson. Once you hear these things, you have to be thinking, okay, there's probably deception at the highest levels. And so
Oh yeah.
when we look at these occult practices, and what Jesus said specifically is that we don't need these type of things, that we need to trust faith and the plan itself. And so when you look at it like that, as okay, when I'm playing a video game and I punch in the cheat codes and I go beat the boss real quick, now the game's junk to me. Goodbye $59.99.
This is the cheat code channel.
Is it worth entering the cheat codes? Is it possible that they'll distort the actual the skills and things needed to win the game? And I think that's really, it's not about good and evil here, but it's about using the cheat codes versus not, maybe.
Well, Michael, I agree. I'm going to go around the horn because I see everyone's simmering. They just want to chime in. When it comes to running the cheat codes, and to me, it comes from experience of playing the game, going, I played the game, I put in the miles, I've had the pebble in my stone this whole time, and now I've got a cheat code after effort. So it's not a cheat code like we're skipping. So when I say we're using the code for utility, it's not like, hey, we're trying to skip levels. We've been through the levels. We learned the cheat code. And by the way, here's a cheat code to all the realm. But Mike, you're crushing right now, dude. Let's go around. You're crushing right now, man.
I love that, bro. Like, just stop mid-sentence. You're like,
no, you're crushing. I love this. This is great. So I can see Mr. Mystic. Let's go around Mr. Mystic, Chris, and we're still here for a while. I know Mooney wants to ask about 3-eye Atlas, Third Eye Atlas, and what your thoughts and all this. But Dustin, what do you think, bro?
Well, Jeff's actually on here. He said, "Hey, Mike, show us a few pieces."
Oh yeah, I can do that.
God, he has pieces for days, bro. This is not. This isn't Etsy. Look at that pendulum. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
massive
wild.
Pendulums. We recently dated the organic remains inside of one of these canopic jars, and it came back at 20,000 years ago, or just slightly under.
Wow.
But that type of dating is really, really critical, I think, because the way the organic material looked inside of this jar, it would be really hard to falsify that at that point. When you take a kidney, it takes thousands of years for it to dry up into a mineralized chunk of, crap at the bottom. It's interesting, though. We find these lingams, which are like a Hindu thing, or a Shiva thing, I should say, more than anything.
How much
chessboards?
How much imagery of like goddess worship is there? I'm assuming there's a decent amount, right?
Oh, of goddess, like with a female perspective?
Yeah, or at least like a equivalent in like the bull or.
I would say like It's
or
it's more
cow?
like this. A lot of cow, a lot of cow
Bull, yeah.
worship, and a lot of this type of stuff here, where you've got the multi-armed figure
Okay. So
with the
that's like
ram or the
like a
lion.
Shiva type of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it's
Yep.
interesting with all the Chris blood cell. We have with this white
Oh
lady that keeps
yeah.
popping up. It's like
Hmm.
it seems like a very thelemic, like the Thelema type idea is like this feminine
Oh, big time.
alien goddess.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. She is the Sophia, the one that created, this the demiurge, which then created this entire universe. So um, we find this being here, and it's like an all-seeing eye type being. But as you can see,
Yeah,
there's two other heads coming off, and so the triple head or the Trinity beings that we find are fairly common somewhere
reminds me of
else.
like Jabulon too, with like the arms and legs, like the three-headed spider.
Mhm. In the choppiest region, that's what the locals refer to her as a spider woman. And
Ah,
they say that these beings come down, they look like constellations of stars coming down, and then they manifest into people. And what's really crazy is I just posted a video about this a few days ago, but Pastor Jim Brewer, or Troy Brewer, he made this statement on the Confessionals podcast about his time in Chapias and how it really was wild witchcraft down there in that part of Mexico, and that there was giants. But he explained these beings coming down, and back in 2021, the gentleman who did the Gen 6 documentary, Jesse Alberto, he sent me all these pictures that he took when he took a helicopter out in the jungle. There was a report by one of the locals that there was some weird stuff going on, voices and chanting and lights. And so they went out and checked it out, spent 4 or 5 days out there, and they definitely found what they were looking for. And so I got all these pictures, and they're really, it's like almost a mile away with a 600 millimeter telescope lens. So the quality at nighttime is not the greatest, but what it shows and how it shows it, looking at it more and more now, like clearly this is what those people or what the locals in Chapias were seeing. So this stuff's happening. Like there's still like interactions with these beings today, I believe. They're manifesting into these things.
Yo,
I don't
Chris,
know.
some of his stuff he shows has magnetism, like the bracelets and the quote unquote watches and things have.
Yeah.
they're magnetized.
Yeah.
Huge magnetic, like the pendulums and things. Like this has the dove on the top of it, and then this pendulum will find and what it is, we've scanned this with CT. There's a inlay underneath this thin piece of the geopolymer, and it's an iron ore with magnetism. But clearly, they had a way of manipulating that magnetism, because they put it into some pieces, and it was literally layered on. I did an interview with Matt Bale on the Limitless podcast here recently, but it shows the pictures on there of this material, and it's just, they had extreme technology in terms of laying this stuff out and layering it in very thin, almost like a 3D printed type application.
Yo, so Chris, is before we get the Mooney, are all chicks basically spiders? Is that their archetype? Both ancient and today. No, I'm just joking, folks. Hold on.
Oh, I think I'm pretty sure this female goddess is really more like Baal or it's like a
Moloch.
Yeah, it's like a dual entity that's like feminine, masculine, sort of hermaphrodite.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like it's not really necessarily all females, all males. It's just you're getting an inversion of both energies, and they're worshiping it like it's the original creator. Yeah.
But what's crazy about that is so Scott Woltor, he's a forensic geologist, and he was working on these Cremona document findings from Italy. And inside of it, he decoded this paper, and it's an excerpt from the Book of Wars, which is a Bible book that we don't have, and it talks about the dual gendered Godhead in this book. And yeah, I think you're dead on with that statement.
Well, and that makes sense too. Like the just saying God head, it just makes me think of like the Templars and worshiping like this head of John the Baptist, they say, or which is Baphomet, really, and like it's like this same type of idea. And then you have these talking heads that pop up through the historical writings in the occult, and they're getting divinations from talking heads, and now we're getting divinations from talking AI models.
Yeah. Yeah. Evolution.
Yeah.
Moon, what do you think about all this? Mike, do you speak Spanish, bro?
I don't. I've gotten better.
She speaks Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Spanish, or is it its own language?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you one thing, the Spanish language is a lot closer to you know, I think more connected spiritually, because if you go through the whole day of the week,
dude. I agree.
If you go through the whole day of the week, it's, you know, Domingo, Lunes, it ties to like all of the celestial bodies.
Mercury. Yeah, I'm Spanish. Yeah.
Exactly. But if you guys will just allow me, I'm dying to share this. These findings that I've come across for a while now, but mostly this in this past week. Ronan, I'm gonna share my screen, okay? And I'm gonna show you guys what I've come across and see if you guys could follow. Give me 1 second.
We have the technology.
Yes.
What's hilarious about this show right now is like we're talking all this esoteric stuff, but there's also physical evidence of what we're talking about behind Mike. It's like this is different. We're built different over here.
It's a big pill to swallow for sure.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it is. It is for sure. So guys, we'll see if I'm going to, if you guys can follow me. So, right. So this is very interesting. I wasn't paying too much attention to 3i Atlas, but there were too many things that were hitting me, that spirit was hitting me in the face with, right? So first of all, we had a show here with Ronin and with Chris like months ago, right? And I don't know what we were talking about, okay? But I had posed a question, right? Because we were talking about abductions, this, that, whatever. And I said, if I ever got abducted, would you guys come and find me? And the only one that answered was Chris. Chris said, yeah, hell yeah. You know, you just got to leave me some breadcrumbs, right? So then this whole alien abduction stuff showed up. And then now 3i Atlas came in on the news. Now, the reason why I talk about abduction is because my dreams are very profound, right? But and I had a similar dream, right? Which I was actually in, and I talk a lot here on the show and on the Mooniverse. I talk a lot about our ancestors and how they're extremely powerful, and we get a lot of knowledge from them, right? And in my culture, we revere so much our ancestors, you know, because they leave behind so much knowledge. And I had a dream that I was in my grandmother's kitchen. It was brightly lit, you know, it wasn't like spooky or anything. And then all of a sudden there's this presence. And if anybody has anybody seen the movie Eternals? Or how about the last movie with Fantastic Four? No. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen them both, dude. You're not the only one.
Okay. All right. So then there's this presence outside of the house, right? And it's as big as you know, one of those big gods that they show, right, in the movie. And then I feel something grab me by my chest and start pulling me towards the window. And then it starts telling me, giving me like a download, some information that I got to do. And I was scared, but then all of a sudden I released the fear, and then I fell into my own power, and then I woke up. But anyway, let's keep it moving, right? And so I just wanted to put that out there. So this is the trajectory of this 3i Atlas, and from the time that they said that it had first passed Mars, let me play this here, right? It first had passed Mars, right? And then it's supposed to go behind the moon, and then it's going to go out. So if it stays on the same trajectory, it's going to go out to Jupiter. So, right, I said Mars. I'm saying this intentionally. And then it's going to go out to Jupiter, right? Okay. Now, I do, when I do my show, I always say I'm not an astrologist, but I'm learning, okay? And as I learn, I teach, my vibe tribe, right? So presently right now, let me stop sharing this. Presently right now, we are in what's called a water trine, a grand water trine. We were just in a grand air trine, but now we are presently in a grand water trine. And I'll show you exactly what that means. Here we go. Where is this? Let's see if it's this one. I should have. Give me a second. If not, I could always jump to it. Oh, here we go. Okay, perfect. Perfecto. Okay. Let's see, wait till that pops up there. My laptop is a little sluggish. Or maybe I just have to double tap. Yep, there you go. Share this tab instead. Let me share this tab instead. And then here we go, right? So can you guys see that? Let me know.
Mhm.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So presently we are in a grand air trine. So here we have Cancer, Scorpio, which shout out to my Scorpios, the Scorpio season. Okay.
Let's go.
Which is very telling as well. Okay. And then we have Pisces. So if you see this triangle right here, right, this is a grand air trine because right now they are all conjunct, and actually they're ay Dios santo, what is the actual technical term? It is, yes, a trine, 120 degrees, right? Trine. Now, what's very significant about this trine and what stood out to me is that we have here, if you guys see, let me just zoom in a little bit. Can I zoom in, Spirit? Yeah, there we go. All right, here we have Mars. Mars happens to be in Scorpio right now, right? So you had 3i Atlas that entered and just passed Mars, right? And we happen to be in Scorpio season. We just, which was yesterday, which this is all madness right now. If you see people losing their shit right now, it's because you have the sun, yet you have the moon. Well, yesterday you had the moon, and as well as Mars, and also you have the Black Lilith. We have been talking a lot about, right? Michael has been mentioning a lot about the divine feminine, Venus, Ishtar. All of this is tied in. Black Lilith is just another version of Ishtar and Venus as well, right? So then you have 3i Atlas that comes in through Mars, right? And then it's going to also exit through where, or trajectory on its way to where? To Jupiter. But where is Jupiter? Jupiter is right here. Hold on, let me close this here. Okay, Jupiter is right here. It's located in Cancer right now, so it's going to exit or pass by Jupiter, which is in Cancer. And I was like, oh wow, this is really interesting. We happen to be in Scorpio season, which, by the way, on the 21st, remember that number, on the 21st of December is significant as well, and I'll get to that in a second. But it just so happens that we will be able to finally see it the closest on the 29th of this month in Scorpio season, right? And I was like, okay, but then we are in a grand air trine, but then we have Pisces. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Why? Because Pisces is also related to the Pisces Vesica, which is also the divine feminine as well, right? Let me close this here. Oh, that's my son Joey. Hi, Joey. Sorry, wrong picture. Give me a second. I'm gonna stop sharing that one. So
Sure.
then
well, hold on, Mooney. I want to ask Mike a question. He's showing
You see the Vesca Pisces here?
I'm sorry. Yes.
The Vesca
okay.
Pisces, we find it carved on these pieces.
Really? Okay, that's so beautiful. That is so beautiful.
Yeah.
So
Mike,
then,
well,
look
hold
at
on.
that.
Mike,
Just need to add one
have
thing.
you had any strange dreams being around these artifacts? And Moon, we're not getting away from what you got. I just want to quick. You haven't had any weird, deeper dreams around these artifacts?
No, but I don't get dreams at all, anyways, because I smoke a lot of cannabis. So it has something to do with the endocrine system and your glands and how dreams function. But yeah, I just sleep.
Well, I'm with you on that.
I do want to add something to what Moody's saying too, and also Pisces, Neptune, Spirit. But yeah, go on. Just wanted to add that.
Okay, no, that's all going to play in. That's all going to play in. So I'm sharing this. So here we have.
I didn't know Mooney was coming in with a build. She's coming in with a build tonight.
So then here we have the world card. So Vesica Pisces stood out to me. And then because, I do tarot. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Vesica Pisces, that's the world card. Okay. But then we also have here in the thought deck, we have the universe. So if you look closely right back here of the name universe, it says Trump's. But we happen to be right. Who's president right now? So that's not another coincidence. That's a synchronicity. But each of these cards are represented by the planet Saturn. And that is where Saturn is presently right now. It is in Pisces, Vesica Pisces. Okay. So then you're telling me here, Michael has been going off with the bull, the eagle, the headed man. Also lion was brought up as well. And that's all of the symbols.
Lion is the other one.
That's all the symbols that you see here. And this is 21. It's 21 straight across the board, which, by the way, the closest after it passes from behind the sun, because right now Three Atlas is behind the sun. After it passes behind the sun and before it goes towards Jupiter, it's going to be the closest to the Earth. That's when we'll be able to see it. Okay, which will be they're saying November, but they're also saying December 21st is a huge date as well. Okay, and they're saying they might play it out. Okay, everybody's talking about Blue Beam Project this and Blue Beam Project that. Okay, which I believe they do have that technology, have the ability, but then at the same time, what are they hiding? They've always tried to hide the truth, which is why all of these artifacts are buried. As above, so below. They have to bury the truth under the ground. They have to bury the truth that's revealed in the skies as well. It doesn't matter if you guys believe in space or not. All right. The things that the visuals are there. We have ancient artifacts throughout so many cultures that are showing all of these alien figures and visitations and crafts and so forth and so on. Why would now be any different? We are in such prophetic times and such a time in the collective of a grand awakening that Michael gave the testimony that he didn't believe in this, and all of a sudden years ago he got touched, but Spirit spoke to him at that time. Okay, and I'm gonna say Spirit spoke to him at that time. So then the information that he's bringing to us now are like breadcrumbs, and we make these connections. Everything that Michael spoke about tonight is revealed here in the world cards, right? And then if you look here in the Thoth deck where it says the universe, right? What's wrapped around this divine feminine? It's a snake. Right? We are in a snake year. So you tell me all of this is happening during a snake year? And then Michael was talking about the he just showed one of his pieces that had a that had an eye, an all-seeing eye. Do you see what's up here on the third deck? Right here? That's an all-seeing eye, right? So I just find it so amazing, so beautiful, so delicious that all of these synchronicities that are coming through are showing us the time that we're in right now. Okay. And or let me just show you these other pictures that I have, right? Because we were talking about Vesica Pisces, but if you saw those pictures there, right? If you saw those pictures there, give me a second. Then I was talking about
Look at
December.
the screen. Look at Michael's screen.
Let me see. Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that. That's 1000% depicted.
It has the as above, so below symbology, and it uses this crystal skull too.
Look at that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Baphomet. It's depicted right there.
That's amazing. The past foretelling the future and vice versa.
Yeah.
Right, because it's all about the present. We are in the now. Time is linear. It's right. So I just wanted to show just really quick, because I was talking about December 21st, how there probably will try to talk about or try to bring on the coming of the Christ and things like that. And then I came across these pictures here. Give me a second. I came across these pictures. Here we go. Boom. Right? Because what they did, what the Christian religion did was they replaced the divine feminine with the Jesus, with the Jesus depiction. So this is, you see that? That's this is a womb. This is the woman's womb.
Or did they replace it with Lucifer?
Well, they say that the divine feminine was Lucifer and she was the snake, but she's the one who actually gave the knowledge in the garden.
So if we look at what I think Chris said earlier with the dual gendered being, right? So this would really fit into that. And then you look at Tiamat
exactly.
and Apsu.
Yes.
Those two things were together at one point. Now they're separated, and I think that's a huge the reunion of this. Going into Aquarius with the Pisces, like this water world versus the air world that you're talking about. The air world likely was that of Enlil or the wind gods, and we're moving into back to the water gods, rain or something of that nature.
Right. Absolutely right. I think you're right on that. I think this is the time where Spirit goes, what does this mean? What does it all mean? I think it's a very powerful now we're gonna see little green aliens come out. I don't know, because if people are convinced of that, that's what they are going to see. Do you understand? We see what we believe. If we tell a child that Mickey Mouse is Jesus Christ, that's what he's gonna believe, and that's gonna be his whole reality, and nobody could tell him different, right? So what's gonna happen? So I feel that this is going to be a huge moment for the collective who are leveling up in their spirituality, the union, right? Because what happened when we came down here was a division, and then you had the left brain, the right brain, you had the yin, the yang, right? I think there's a time where not everybody, but a small amount of people, right, that are going to come together as one through consciousness,
a communion.
There you go. Exactly. Thank you. Yep. Beautiful.
So funny that we're talking about all this. Don't mean to interrupt, but I just thought this was very fitting. But that's what they say, right? So this is actually a non-dualistic book, right? It's a Course in Miracles. Obviously we have duality here, right? But in this book, it's all about training the mind, and it talks about if anything, any of your thoughts or any of your actions or whatever cause separation, you're in the wrong mind. So it's all about the right, being in the right and the wrong, versus the wrong mind. And anything that causes division or separation, you're in the wrong mind.
Yeah. Balance is so key here. That's why Anubis was always running around with the scales, I think, trying to balance the order of which this universe was created, if it's true by the demiurge, which is a failed experiment or a recreation of the godhead in a possibly like a digital form. So um that's where the dualism stems from, or where the imbalance stems from. So it would make sense that this being was trying to rebalance everything that he created, or everything that it created, into more of perfection, due to everything was out of balance. And that's probably why we're so imperfect but yet perfect, because there's been intervention that saved us from the failures that we had from that.
Yeah, there's a huge message in that as well, because we just came out of Libra season, the scales, and
Yeah.
and who's in Libra season? Venus.
Uh-huh.
So this is what she's coming to do. This is what they're coming to do, is to bring balance to the, so however that looks like to anyone and everyone, then that's what's going to manifest. It's funny because that scientist, what the hell is his name? Something, that actually made the discovery of Three-Eye Atlas. He keeps saying that this is going to be a meeting or a date, something about, like, he kind of relates it to a relationship. When we're finally able to see Three-Eye Atlas come very close to the Earth, he keeps relating to it like it's a meeting, it's a date that we have, like between the feminine and the masculine. So it's very interesting that that we're relating it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yo, is this Three-Eye Atlas thing observable? I'm only hearing people talk about it. Is it?
It's been observable by a few satellites. Clearly, the Hubble and James Webb and things, when it was way out there, got shots. The Mars rover, they released shots of. However, with the government shutdown, supposedly there's lack of coverage on it or something of that nature. There's so much misinformation, though. Like I'm going to say that it is
Well, it's the
really
Masons
bad
that
with
run them.
misinformation right now.
Them J suiters run them things. I don't trust their CGI things. Yeah.
It could very well be a blue beam. I mean, that's what Jeremy Corbell said a year ago, that they were going to try to make us think that aliens were coming and then try to pass it off, or there was a big lie coming, and that this could be related to that. Who knows?
Yeah, you have like both the dueling narratives of like Corbell and Bledsoe. Like Bledsoe says like the mother is coming with all these fucking spheres and other aliens, and Corbell is saying it's all a lie, a big threat. It's like you have two dueling narratives right there.
Yeah. Well, no, not necessarily. So what Bledsoe says is on a more divine light type thing, and what Blue Beam is supposed to be is an actual alien invasion where we're going to be launching Hellcat missiles at these things. So, or whatever, right? Like there's an actual Blue Beam is to distract or to make us think that it was this, even though it's not. And I think.
Yeah.
I think that they want to suppress God at all costs, that they're preparing us for an alien invasion. So when this lady does come back, so, in the Bible, Jesus exorcised 7 sins from Mary, and Mary very well could have been another incarnation of this divine feminine. And in the Pistis Sophia, he took her away into the 13th eon so that the fallen could no longer succeed as they did in the beginning. And so I believe that they took her beyond where the veil of the demiurge is. And the demiurge, because she was entrapped in time, was able to use her and her womb to create and to manifest different things, and maybe itself into a form here. And that's where we come off with a lot of these monstrosities. Like Tiamat is depicted sometimes with a one eye and a serpent body. Other times she's got 7 serpent heads, and we see the 7 serpent heads all over, the world. Honestly, it's in, I
Yeah.
think, 4 or 5 countries at least. So that I think is a big hint. Also, the Star of David, or the Star of Remfram. This star specifically is 2 pyramids that oppose each other, and
Yeah.
so this opposition to God could very well be symbolized in that symbol. It's also known as the talisman of Saturn, depending on where you look. And when you get into these talismans of Michael and Saturn and things, they were oftentimes symbols and sigils used by what's his name there, that had the Ark of the Covenant, King Solomon, rather. So the fact that it goes back to King Solomon and how he tried to entrap demons and all of this stuff with this ring. And the rings is another thing. The oaths and the contracts that we have in our world are likely symbols of Saturn, and things to try to manipulate man to provoke failure, or to provoke infidelism, like a marriage, for instance. The ring to symbolize and to create this vow of this contract could very well be something just to knowing that man is imperfect and dualistic. There's no way he's going to be able to pull this off. Now I've got his soul forever type of situation.
It's there goes another synchronicity when you mention Saturn, because Saturn is in Pisces. Saturn is known as the father. Pisces, Vesic, of course, the divine feminine. So there goes another union, right? So that is another that's another synchronicity as well. And it's funny that you mentioned this dude Bledsoe. Is that how you say Chris Bledsoe?
Chris
Bledsoe, yeah. He I had quoted that in our TG in Slick. Shout out to Slick Dissident in Gabriel's TG about how one of his quotes is when the star Regulus appears red and aligns with the Sphinx, a new knowledge will come into the world. So that's supposed to happen around Easter Ishtar of 2026. All right. So this is what I'm saying. Are we going to get a massive download? Our consciousness, are we going to get a massive download? Are we, we're leveling up, whatever it is, we are leveling up. We have been feeling it for an extremely long time. And we are in a 9 year, and that's completion. Next year, it's like everything is new, like the Fool, like we're going to just start anew. It might not be for everybody, but for those who are ready to receive it, right? Yeah, we're going to definitely get that level up.
It's coming. New music. It's like every genre change, the 80s versus the 60s. Like it's definitely something of this 10-year. Like that's why they picked it probably for the the decade, because there's definitely something to that in terms of renewal.
Exactly. To shifting timelines. It's not going to be. I had said this during my last show that we're in between stations. Right. When you're in between station, you hear that static. Everything is chaotic right now. You see that they're throwing so much at us, like a lot, like too much, like it's OD, So until we align ourselves and we see the signs, we listen, we go within, we listen to our intuition, right? And we lead with love as much as we can. Then that's when we align and we jump timelines, a quantum jump. That's a quantum jump. And I think that's exactly what's coming, is a quantum jump.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's an author by the name of J.J. Hurtak. He wrote a book back in the 70s called the Book of Knowledge, The Keys of Enoch. He had a pretty otherworldly experience where he was taken up into the heavens and was blessed by this garment of knowledge by Enoch. And the things that he's talked about in this book, I mean, you read it now and you're just like, this was real when? This is 50 years old now? That's insanity. The level of quantum knowledge and things that he brought to the table at this point has fascinated many NASA scientists and doctors and people all over the world because of the accuracy. And what he told me at Easter, he does an event at Easter, and last year was the last Easter for his events. He had the 10 superscripts that Enoch told him to withhold, and he withheld them for almost 50 years or over 50 years there. And finally, the last one just released, and he explained it as that the sun right now with our magnetic sphere is blocking out certain things from our sun that our bodies need to fully evolve, and that back in 2012 there was a CME from our sun that warped this magnetic sphere, which is interesting because that's the end of the Mayan cycle. Like I mentioned earlier, it seemed as if the spheres were looking the other direction. Well, we got hit with this huge CME and the magnetic sphere was skewed. So he claimed that this could happen again to some extent, which would allow these things from the sun to reach us and allow us a more transition, an easier transition into our light vessels or into our next stage of evolution.
That'd be nice,
Amazing.
right?
Hard to believe, right? I know.
I know.
But it's talked about so much in these ancient texts that even the pharaohs, how they were masters of ascension and different things. It's this knowledge has to stem from somewhere.
Yeah.
It's way too advanced. I mean, it's even advanced now to think about doing complex embalming and things like that. I mean, we have it down pretty good, but what they went through at that time was ridiculous.
Oh yeah, and I really take that how you were saying they were trying to filter certain powerful things from the lamp going above our heads that would enable one to, it's like the cosmic vitamins to help you.
And that might be the power of the engineering with Saturn, specifically that vortex on the top of Saturn, the black cube, oftentimes is found in relation to some of these. And if you look what's inside the Star of David, you'll find this hexagon, very similar. And with the Kaaba in the Muslim religion, how they circle it and things like that, this notion of gravity and magnetism possibly coming from this alteration or this engineering capability is potential. Like that might be what she created to entrap these souls, and she got the sun's power just right to where it was only putting out a certain amount, or that Saturn was blocking a lot of the magnetic things away, or with the magnetism rather.
Yeah, and I heard I saw videos, and this may be AI or whatever, of previous recent lunar eclipses or solar eclipses, and people claiming they're like artificial eclipses. Like putting objects in front of the sun. Now, I know this sounds outlandish. I'm not saying I believe it. I'm just saying I watch, this is very recent videos of things, anomalies with certain things. Like it's not organic based on its, things like that.
There's too many things with the moon, like the size of it, the distance from the earth, the distance from the sun, how it completely blocks out the sun perfectly. Like there's all this mathematical relation to that I think is absolutely an engineered thing. There's no way that was just a happy accident of, oh, we just came into orbit and just happened to be, the perfect everything. It's just like the tilt of our earth to give us our seasons, to provoke agriculture, and how all these different cultures claim that their agriculture came from the gods. This is again Enki, the corn god, and evidence that it wasn't just one person. As I mentioned with the feathered serpent earlier, you've got it in Inca, you've got it in the Aztec, you've got it in the Mayan. How on earth did these three civilizations with very different backgrounds all come to the same conclusion across the entire continent that Birdman was the savior,
I mean, feathered dragons in the whole little Chinese parades and stuff is pretty common stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah, the dragon's everywhere.
So feathered serpents is a dragon to me. You know what I mean? It's not much of a leap.
It really is. I just never put it together that the Sumerian relief and that bird-headed being was actually the feathered serpent, and that's evidence that the feathered serpent was in Iraq and Turkey and all these other places as well. And when you look up that guy's name specifically, it's very skewed, and there's not any real specifics that, yeah, this is Enlil or this is Enki. It's not like that with the bird guy and the Sumerian like it is most of the other figures. People call Apakalu or something like that, like it's a helper, but it's not specifically said to be, you know, anything.
Yeah, man. Dude, what else does everyone else have? I'm just enjoying, man. I mean, oh, by the way, I got to get you to the flat stationary plane at some point, Mike. I mean, it sounds like you're still on that, and that's okay. But
yeah,
we get to the flat stationary plane with the luminaries going above our head, fixed patterns and wandering stars, aka planes, other planes, somatics, light, water. You know, these are luminaries, but it's okay. we don't have, but it still can work, you know.
Yeah, definitely reach out, man. I always appreciate talking about this stuff and pushing my mind into further evolutions of understanding, because I'm such a novice at this. The stuff that I say, I mean, it literally has five years worth of research behind it. I know people with 50 plus years of theology research that I often just love having conversations with, because it's like my beliefs at this point versus what we're finding in Mexico might not always be parallel. Like the stuff we're finding in Mexico might show all this, and this is what it depicts, but that doesn't make it the truth. And I'm very, very accepting of that. It's just that I take it that there's a wholer picture here than anywhere else in the world that has similar consistent themes and stories as these other places. So to just disregard it as well, it's definitely there's big signs here that seem like they've been covered up from other places and wars and things that have happened that are surfacing, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I kind of view this as like, you ever build a puzzle, built the border first?
Yeah, we got the
And
corners is what I told my mom. I was like,
right.
we got the corners, Mom.
Exactly. Like that's like the best
The
way to put it.
corners
And
and
then
the edges are always the easiest.
Yeah, I haven't got the edges yet. No.
Michael, have you ever gotten into Michael Tazarian? Do you know who he is?
No, never heard that name.
Oh my gosh, yes. I was watching his videos and he really gets deep into everything that we've been talking about. And he talks about, just I think one of his books is, oh my goodness, it's Atlantis, what the heck is his book?
Well, his website is called Unslaved. That's his podcast and website.
Awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Right on. I'll check that out for sure. Yeah, I think Atlantis absolutely is the predecessor of Babylon, and Babylon is the predecessor of America, it seems like at this point.
Yeah, it seems like all just repeating the same sort of mistakes over and over and over.
it's like,
Learning
from
it. Yeah.
Oh, not yet? Okay, let's make another trip around.
Yeah. That's what we're here to do, though, it seems like. Yeah.
You have the other so I'll try and fit this in. The Tartarian talk, right? You have these old world buildings that are also geopolymers, that are also have, you know, some of them might even be in tune. Some of them are, especially the Gothic stuff. So to me, that's not a billion years ago. That's actually pretty darn recent. I feel like the 1800s jammed everybody up.
Yeah.
Oh,
there's no internet.
That's funny because Michael Tazarian goes into that in his book. It's actually called Atlantis, Alien Visitation, and Genetic Manipulation. He gets into that. He says, no, time is not what we, it's completely manipulated. And he gets into that whole thing, about genetic manipulation and how we were possibly first servants of those in Atlantis, and we rose up, and then there was a huge battle, and it goes into Lemurians and all of this and that stuff, and Yeah, it's so interesting. I love it. Like you can't even make movies. Like they try to make movies, but like if you get into really this stuff, it's wild. It's wild. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. And a lot of our movies have derived from this
Yes.
or been influenced by this. And, you know, a lot of directors say, oh, it just came to me in my sleep one night or whatever. And it's like interesting because, you know, our pineal gland is directly related to the eye, right? And we see the all-seeing eye depicted all over with all these crazy divinations and different types of practices being done. So it absolutely could be that there is something on the other end of that that's feeding or seeding different ideas or concepts into us. And that might be how the Jetsons were so on point as a cartoon, you know, like so many of those things, even down to the way of the living styles. We have ancient pieces that are being found that have these exact type of, you know, weird looking houses on a pole. So it's very interesting. Space Needle looking things, you know?
Yeah. Yo, man, they're trying to, I'm not going to be parasited, man. I'm trying to be as least amount of loose. I'm going to try to keep my own loose energy, build it, receive, and becoming a powerful being.
That's where I'm at too. Do you let them do them and don't try to feed in, because it's definitely a harvesting operation, it seems like, in some respects, depending on where you look.
Yeah, unfortunately, right?
No, I don't say unfortunately. It might be fortunate because we have the awareness to sit here and talk about it today. That's overcoming something pretty major. And when we overcome stuff like falling down on our face, it's usually really gratifying and rewarding. So
the heroes,
I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna take it negative, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're right. We can't have. There is no positive without the negative here. Like that's just how it works.
It sucks. Millions of people died over it and starved over it and whatever else happened. But still, the true wisdom is the wealth. And you know, when people take that wisdom with them, you know, I've had experiences on DMT and different types of psychedelics where I literally felt like I left my body, and one thing that came with me was the wisdom. So that's a good takeaway. I think that's an important thing to get as much of as we can when we're here.
Oh yeah, that's the only thing we can take with us.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I always say this to Chris, like, are we being all dark and stuff? Like, it's like, no, I don't think so. We're just you know, as all the common tropes of we're removing the veil and, you know, shining light on the darkness and all this stuff. That's all. We're just pointing out that there can be some controlled, like, you know, again, is it a prison planet? Is it a paradise? You know, it's up to you. Is it the soul trap type of talk? Is it you're all, everyone's a bunch of clones in a petri dish revision, insert whatever revision you are in your scaffolding of your psyche. But I don't know, man. I'm here. I think Taurus fields. I have a Taurus field. I think that's pretty. Everyone has a Taurus field. I think that's.
There's that bull again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. And so,
but you know, it says in the Bible that the Holy Spirit is always by our side, and the Holy Spirit is the Holy Ghost or the divine feminine that fell from the Trinity. So that would make sense why you do have that.
And I even hear the Torah, you know, so I'm talking Taurus, you know, and you got, you know, the bull, and, you know, you have things like Torah. And
absolutely. There's a connection there for sure.
And that's something.
Same thing with the Jews. They celebrate on Saturday instead of Sunday, which is Saturn's day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
So I want to try and land this plane, Mike, because we could just this.
I gotta go eat brisket, so yeah, it's probably good.
Brisket.
I can smell it, and I'm sitting here just sweating.
Send me some. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you have to come back, man, if that's cool. And do a part 2. We could just, there's so many branches to this conversation, and it is all a good time. But you know, we can do
absolutely.
We don't have to.
And next time I'll start. Next time I'll come on time and so I come from the start.
Yeah, man. So the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step, and this is part 1, and we're
Yep.
just trying to figure it out. So let's go around. Everyone, get off anything that's left they want to bring up, talk. I'm running low right now, despite the edifying convo. So let's go around. Let's go Moonfeather, Chris, Dustin, and Mike, and let's have Mike have the final word. And my final words, I'll just say my final words now, man. I mean, Mike, you really brought it. I appreciate you for coming on the show here with us. This is a mom and pop operation, and we're big fans of your the stuff you're doing, and keep going. We support you in any way we can. Dude, can I get I want a crystal skull so bad, bro. Can you just
Get one. I got you.
Oh my gosh.
There's so many of these things that get offered that I can't buy. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting. So if you're gonna rob one of mine from me, I'll fight you for it. But if you're wanting one, I can definitely. I mean, I've built multiple other collections just because I can't get them all. I mean, my room is so stuffed here. I've got multiple storage facilities, like over 1,000 pieces at this point, and trying to move is like a nightmare. Just to even think about it. So it's definitely, please save me from myself, please. No.
The mound stuff. Oh man, if you give me, oh dude, I would love an artifact.
Yeah, and a pendulum too.
Treasure.
Like see what you feel on that. I think it's really an important thing. And discerning between this. The guys down there, obviously, it's an oral tradition. The old man, the elder Toltec I interviewed in my book Anunnaki America. I mean, he's the master of this and has found the most ridiculous pieces. And so there's definitely a purpose there.
I love how you one vid you were dousing. There was a local guy using dowsing rods to find. All right, let's dig here.
No, it wasn't dowsing rods. No, but did he have like a crystal skull and like some scrying boards and stuff?
Oh, I thought he had dowsing rod. I'm sorry, I may be mistaken, but maybe yes, you might be right.
Yep. And they use the conchs and they blow on the shells and create this whole ceremony and yeah.
Yeah, so this is all like even the method, the process, the discovery method is all tapped in. We're all about tapping in over here, man.
Yeah. There's something real there. I can guarantee you that. I just don't know about putting in the cheat codes.
Well, and articulating it cheapens it a little bit, and putting it in a box in a genre cheapens it. Even talking,
yeah,
and that's to 5 of us that are a bunch of chatty Cathys that just talking. But we're bringing awareness. What do we look at? Oh yeah.
That's the Ouija board there.
Wow.
Wow.
Damn.
You can see the piece here for it.
Wow.
Yo.
Imagine if I tapped into that, guys.
That's some it's like some Tracy Twyman sort of stuff going on there.
Yeah.
Is it different than modern Ouija boards anyway?
Folks, don't forget, you shine certain light on it, it glow any light.
I gotta see this thing.
And some of them, it'll absorb the light and keep illuminating for a bit.
That's
yeah, it will. If I shut the lights off, it would.
Yeah,
it's too bright.
It's set up different, huh? It's not similar to modern ones. It's different.
No,
it is different. The half-lives and everything are not the same for sure. It's strontium based, but it's not the same.
Moon, let's get out of here, dude. Otherwise, we'll be here all night talking, man.
I
don't even want to do a YouTube. I just want to hang out on the porch and we just yapping. We just talk on the porch with her,
Get the puff go and
you'll be snoring by 9 p.m.
Oh, I will be. I know that. I'm snoring now.
Well, I'm extremely grateful to be here with you guys to share this space. It's so awesome. Michael, thank you so much for coming through. Thank you for inviting him, Ronin. Ronin always brings the most interesting and exciting guests. It's wonderful to see you too, Dustin and Chris. We'll talk soon. So much love to you guys and to everyone in the chat. Thank you for chiming in. And yeah, we'll talk soon. So many blessings to everyone.
Okay.
Thank you, Mooney. You're the best, Moons. Would you?
Oh, thanks. Does that mean you'd come
What?
and rescue me if the lizards abduct me?
I told you if they abduct you, send me a postcard. I mean, you know, I'll think about. I'll never forget you.
You see that? You see that? Yeah. Ronan is like women and children for themselves, and he has
You'll
a
figure it
special
out.
spaceship for passport bros. He has a special spaceship for his passport bros. Yeah.
We're portal bros. We're starting portal. We're going passport bros is played out.
That's right. My bad. Right. Portal bros. Right. He's got a whole he's got a club that's for portal bros only. Right. Got it.
Dude, I dated 8 foot. I dated a 9 foot chick, dime piece from Valhalla or something. You know what I mean? Agartha. Anyway, shout out Portal Bros. Chris, what you got, man?
No, it was a pleasure, guys. It was a real pleasure. I definitely would love to talk again soon, whenever you guys want. Just hit one of us up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, much gratitude to you, Mike. Glad to do, I guess, part 2 and beyond. And you know, it's always a pleasure. Minds always get blown with everything, all the discoveries, and just putting together this million-piece puzzle, and beyond. Like, it might not even be a million-piece; it might be a infinite million-piece puzzle. So,
Dustin, we got to get the hand.
Don't tell my wife that, please.
Yo, Dustin, we got to get the hand pans and play them next to these things and see if we get any different vibrational frequency readings off them.
Hey, I'm with you. You never know.
I have a hand. I've got tons of different, you know, pyramids, crystal pyramids, and different singing bowls and tuning forks from Earth Tuned. Tested a lot of stuff that way with these, as well as I've got a modular synthesizer, and we've done a lot of different frequencies and things, playing music and different drones and randomization sequences and things like that, with probabilities that would be potentially influenced by it, and just seeing what came up. But it's hard to say, but it's one thing I did find is that it's absolutely enlightening to play music around these things. It puts you into a state of, I don't know, just really a loose state for sure.
Yeah.
That was another thing too, Mike. Actually, we didn't even hit on that. You actually make music. You make music with frequencies as well.
Yeah, a lot of the music on our videos that we post, if it says like music regardless is on music or whatever, that's stuff I've made usually. Or music regardless is the name, but if it says AlienCarvings, rather, yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yo, let's get out of here, guys. Again, I know we can keep going another 4 hours. I get it, but you know,
I can't. I gotta eat.
Yeah, eat. You know, stuff with the fam. And again, Mike, take it away. But I just want to say, everyone's things are in the description. Like, so support each other and sign up for everyone's stuff. We're all individual, powerful beings here that have come together. So support each other, and you know, it comes back around. So I just want to say, Mike, so much love, and I greatly appreciate you. Please have the final word. And you shared so much, and I'll just end it after, you know, whatever you want to say on your heart, bro. But just know that you blessed us tonight, so appreciate you, man.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate you guys having me and keeping an open mind and asking good questions. It's really important. You know, it's a lot to think about as a person to try to unfold this or untangle this. So just talking about it like we're doing is really the way to do it, and it seems to work. So definitely appreciate you guys, and anytime I'm always down to sit down, and till next time.
Nice. Peace, everyone. Thank you. Gratitude. Let's go.